location. So we are kicking off this weekend with a new recipe as well as a new cake and some cupcakes coming at you. Right now I just made my first batch of homemade fondant and I'm going to share this recipe with you guys. I, one, cannot believe how easy this was. Two, I can't believe I've, up until this point, been wasting so much money on fondant when I could seriously make it myself so much easier. So this is my first batch. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how I made this step by step. It's so easy. All you need is 1.5 bags of mini marshmallows, 1 bag of powdered sugar, a couple of tablespoons of water, and some Crisco. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay, so I've got about 16 ounces of mini marshmallows in a microwave safe bowl. That's 1.5 bags of the smaller bags of mini marshmallows or 1 big bag. So however you get 16 ounces, that's up to you. Then I have 2 tablespoons of water. We're just going to pour that on top of the marshmallows here. We're going to microwave this in 30-second intervals and stirring with a heat-safe spatula between until all the marshmallows are melted and we get a really nice smooth consistency. Okay, so it took me about 3 intervals of 30 seconds to get my marshmallows nice and melted. You see they're not too runny, but there's no big lumps or anything like that. It's a perfect consistency. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take a big handful of Crisco and I am going to put this all over my countertop in my hands because we are going to be kneading these marshmallows with our hands and it's going to be super sticky. So of course clean your countertop really well before I had already done that. So once we get a good layer on there, we are just about ready. I am going to start this out in the bowl. I found my first round it works a little bit easier for me just to go ahead and kind of get that going since the marshmallows are really hot. So you're going to need almost an entire bag of powdered sugar. You're going to pour about 3/4 of that into the bowl. And then just start working that in there with your spatula. Okay, so I'm going to bring you guys in a little bit closer so you can see what's going on here. So we've got a little bit of powdered sugar in here with our marshmallows, and I'm just going to keep working this with the spatula, just kneading that into those marshmallows. This just helps so that I'm not having to deal with the hot marshmallows with my hands. Once we get a good consistency going here, similar to more of a dough, I'll go ahead and place it on the counter. Let's go ahead and put just a little bit more in here because it's still pretty runny. And just continue to work that, fold that in to those marshmallows. If you're finding that it's starting to get really chunky, add a little bit more water. Okay, so we're starting to separate here a little bit. That's a really good spot to go ahead and take it out of the bowl. Just remember to have Crisco in your hands so that you don't get all sticky. Go ahead and just add a little bit more on my countertop just to be sure. I'm just going to dump this out here on the counter. So your marshmallows are still really warm. That's good. They're not as hot, so they're not burning my hands, but they are warm so that they are still nice and pliable. We're just going to work that powdered sugar into the marshmallows here. It's going to start getting firmer. You'll see it's not running as quickly. That's exactly what we want. And just keep adding from your bag of powdered sugar until you reach the consistency that you want. You want to be able to pull the fondant away from itself and it not break. If you've never worked with fondant before, you're looking for kind of a Play-Doh consistency. Don't be afraid to go back for more Crisco too. This is the point where if you wanted to color your fondant, this would probably be the best time to do that. I am going to leave mine white at this point. I'm going to let it sit overnight because I'm not baking until tomorrow. And then at that time I will divide and color my fondant because I will need multiple colors out of this one batch. Once you think you've got enough powdered sugar in there, just continue to work it. You'll see it's kind of got a grainy texture on the finish. You just want to keep working that into there. Those are just little pockets of powdered sugar. Just get that all worked into that dough. You don't want any lumps. That way your cake is nice and smooth when it's finished. So once you've got everything worked into your marshmallow fondant, you've got a really nice good consistency. You want to go ahead and ball it up into as small of a ball as you can get, so just get it really nice and round, and then wrap it really tight with saran wrap or in some sort of airtight container. That's going to help your fondant from drying out. The recipe that I'm using does recommend that you let it sit overnight. However, the first batch that I made felt pretty ready to go. So just kind of make a judgment call there when you're finished with your fondant. Okay guys, when your fondant is done, it should have a really nice Play-Doh type consistency. You can see I'm kneading it and it's really workable. It's not firm, it's not sticky. And you're just going to be able to just roll that dough right out. It's also going to be really smooth on the finish. You shouldn't see any lumps or anything like that. You're also going to be able to stretch it, so be able to pull it kind of like a taffy. See how it's just kind of dripping down, but it's not breaking? It's exactly what we're going for. Now that we're finished with this dough, we're going to go ahead and we're going to wrap this in saran wrap and let it sit overnight, and then it'll be ready for us to use on our cake tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in.